Good morning, Thailand. My name is Alex.
And I'm Jay.
And we have some news updates for you from around the land of smiles for you today, this Monday, January 20th. But before we begin, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out a lot. Now, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Today, we'll be talking about some deaths under uncertain circumstances at a popular music festival in Phuket. Oh. Tourists sparking outrage after public indecency in Pattaya. And a little later, some updates from the new leadership of ASEAN regarding the Myanmar conflict. But first, we're back in Thailand at a festival over the weekend where an elephant panicked at fireworks display, injuring several people at a fair. So at a fair in Nong Bua Lampu on January 18th, an elephant panicked during a fireworks display, injuring 5 people as it ran through the crowd. Witnesses described the chaos as the animal, brought to the event by its handler, reacted to the fireworks' loud noise. One injured attendee, Yanani, recounted being knocked over while carrying her grandchild, though the child was unharmed. The elephant's handler, Mr. Sangha, explained he tried to calm the animal without success. Social media footage of the incident sparked widespread concern, prompting authorities to investigate and enforce future safety measures. So yeah, I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah, I saw the video. It was going viral. I mean, scary footage, man. The elephant just goes off, and you just see the person just effortlessly just boom. And I was like, boom. My heart was in my mouth for a second. I was like, did that elephant just step on that person?
Yeah, it's just the dumbest stuff, though, guys. Like, okay, elephants, no matter how much taming you do to them, they're still big animals. It's and like, keep your dog on a leash kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
there were also fireworks,
right,
though. And I guess that would freak them out.
That's absolutely
Why
would.
Wouldn't they?
So, like, that was completely not thought out very well. They got big ears, man. They can hear very far. So that's going to really hurt them. And, fortunately, no deaths. Like, this could have easily been a trampling or something like that. But in this case, just some injuries and a lot of terror. But it just goes to show we really need to rethink in Thailand how we treat these elephants because that's certainly not what they should be going through.
All right.
Tough.
Well, we'll move on to our next story as Bangkok urges work from home amid severe air pollution threat. It's time to work from home if you're in Bangkok, Thailand, as authorities are urging residents to work from home Monday, which is today, through to Wednesday, as air quality is expected to worsen due to high PM 2.5 levels. What are we doing in office? Governor Chachat called for cooperation from businesses and public offices to mitigate health risks from hazardous air pollution. Schools may also close during this period, with directors given discretion. The Bangkok Metropolitan Administration has identified 80 pollution hotspots and is monitoring conditions, potentially extending remote work measures. Residents are advised to wear masks, limit outdoor exposure, and prepare for continued disruptions as the city implements proactive measures to safeguard public health.
I guess we didn't get the memo, huh?
We just ignored it, I guess. Hey, we must deliver the news.
Yeah, this is our duty. But I don't like. That's so weird that it gets that bad. Like that they're really considering this as an option. I don't know. Yeah, there's a huge public safety concern when it comes to this stuff. And it's funny. When I lived in China, we never got that. There was no days off for pollution.
Look, the strange thing is, we all live in condos in Bangkok, and the BMA is kind of acting like we all cook food at home. Everybody knows Thailand has a huge, Thailand in general, but also Bangkok especially, we rely on Food Panda drivers to bring our food, and we still got to go down and get the food.
Yeah, I remember there was, that's an issue too. I remember there was people making fun of the Grab drivers when they would wear masks and not helmets or something like that. And I was like, well, they're not wearing masks like it was like COVID times or whatever. They're wearing it for the pollution. Like they're just like in the thick of that emissions all day.
I was about to say, like, okay, so people living in condos will have to still go out and get their food, but what about the Grab drivers? I mean, they don't get to work from home. They don't have a choice. How about we just fix the problem? Just stop the crop burning and find alternative solutions.
Well, it's not just the crop burning; it's how Thailand acquires its energy. It's still so much fossil fuel out here because it's the cheap alternative to renewables and things like that. They're supposed to be developing nuclear, but it's still like more than a decade away for a lot of these things.
Let's blame the buses. Let's blame the old public buses because that's the root cause of all pollution in Thailand.
Of it. Hey, it's a multifaceted approach we need. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to our next story where I unfortunately have some tragic news as an American and a Canadian tourist have died at a music festival in Phuket. That's right. 2 tourists, an American and a Canadian, tragically died after collapsing at a music festival in Phuket on January 18th. The American, Min Nguyen Quang Pan, 32, and Canadian Sharfaraz Makbul Ahmed, 28, were rushed to Talang Hospital but could not be revived. Initial investigations revealed no signs of trauma or foul play. Authorities are conducting toxicology tests and autopsies to determine the causes of death. Both embassies have been notified to assist the families. Police are investigating the incidents, which have cast a shadow over the festival. Now, this is, the rumor mill. I guess it wasn't really exactly confirmed which festival it was, but there was only one big festival down in Phuket over the weekend. It was EDC Thailand.
That's right.
And no confirmation as to what the cause was, but of course, this is something that rears its ugly head at many music festivals. We've reported on this at Wonderfruit in the past.
Exactly. I was about to say, there are a lot of substances, whether it's neon during New Year's, whether it's EDC now, whether it's Wonderfruit. And yeah, Wonderfruit has had multiple deaths.
Yeah. Related to substance abuse.
Yeah,
of course.
and let me just go to say that nothing much has changed.
Yeah, it is tough, man.
It's still available.
It's one of
Just
those
find
things.
Waldo, if you know what I mean.
Oh God, but yeah, it's one of those things where people need to be responsible for their own actions, right, and understand their own limits. It's hard to really place blame on a music festival for this because they search people, they tell people, hey, don't do drugs here. Like, this is not an okay place to do it, and people do it anyways.
I don't
and
think they
then
actually
this
say
kinda happens.
that.
I mean, it's one of those, like, it's like a don't do drugs, wink, like kind of thing.
I don't think you're right in the sense
legally,
that that's what the government says, but I don't think the festival itself or anyone going there or anyone while we're there says don't do drugs. You never see a sign or anything, you know. It's just like kind of accepted.
Yeah, I mean, they do a thorough search of you at the beginning, and it's sort of like
some people do a lot more hardcore stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to justify drugs, but there are happy drugs, and then there are extremely intense, extreme drugs.
I mean, all drugs can be dangerous too, depending on the ways that you take it. So it's definitely it's a swim at your own risk situation, and unfortunately, there can be tragedy sometimes.
I'd like to say, like, look, obviously, like, people focus on the deaths of when festivals like this happen, but EDC as a festival looked absolutely stunning. I think it's great for Phuket, great for tourism. I think it's great for Asia. A lot of people will be traveling here for next year. Like, I went to Neon for the Neon EDM festival on New Year's Eve. I looked at EDC and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to Neon anymore. I mean, it's proud for me as a Phuketian that my city had such a huge event that got so many people. Unfortunately, these situations do happen, and this is what gets really highlighted.
Yeah, it's just it's more about raising awareness for people that do go to these events and do partake. Is like you got to be careful, man. And do a buddy system and make sure that you're not you're within your limits and know what they are. So
it's difficult to get help when everyone else around you is also, you know, a bit drunk or having a good time and stuff. Yeah.
No, for sure. It's
don't do it. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs is our advice. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to our next story. Oh, God. Indian tourists spark outrage again after public urination in Pattaya. Another story, unfortunately, from Pattaya. A video of 5 to 6 Indian tourists urinating into the sea at Pattaya Beach on January the 16th has sparked widespread outrage among locals and visitors. The footage captured by a Thai holidaymaker quickly went viral, prompting discussions on the need for stricter supervision in the popular tourist destination. Local residents and businesses have raised concerns about the incident's impact on Pattaya's reputation. Authorities are being urged to increase patrols, enforce public behavior guidelines, and install multilingual signage to prevent similar incidents and protect the area's image and environment. Now, I wouldn't say that, you know, there's a lot of substances and the water in Pattaya Beach wouldn't be clean in general, but these gentlemen made sure that it definitely wasn't.
Gross.
Come on, guys.
It's definitely not the first time we've seen it. And there's been a big problem with the Indian tourist population that has been going to Pattaya, like leaving the beach an absolute mess down there. So reputationally, they're taking a hit.
Yeah, and it's the degenerates. I'll just say it. As an Indian man, I will say that some of these tourists don't represent all of India, but unfortunately, this is what happens. You keep popping up in the media. We keep saying Indian tourists, Indian tourists, Indian tourists. People don't realize that there's, 1.5 plus billion people in India? But this is unfortunately the reputation that they've given Indians in especially Pattaya, but all across Thailand now.
Yep.
Sad.
Pretty gross.
I want to say, like, even in Bangkok, like, as we're going out of Bangkok, like, when you're driving, sometimes you do see, like, a Grab driver or a guy on a motorbike. When you gotta go, you gotta go. And, you know, a guy will be in a bush somewhere.
Yeah.
And that happens. It's fairly rare. It's not very common. But yeah, this being on Pattaya Beach as five buddies, just being like, you know, you're not on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
You haven't hiked for 4 hours and you're on top of the mountain and you want to piss in the wind and be like, I've conquered it. No, it's not that moment.
Yeah, I'm a lot more forgiving with side of the road stuff. But when, like, on a beach where there's supposed to be, like, it's romantic, right? I'm like
Is
walking
it?
by with my date or something like that.
Pattaya
I don't know. It's supposed to be a tropical vacation for a lot of people. Not a great look. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got our next story, which is a harrowing tale. I want to get to now. A Swiss man has been detained after his wife's escape from his pickup truck in Chumphon. So a Swiss man was detained in Chumphon on January 17th after allegedly forcing his Thai wife into a speeding pickup truck, prompting a chaotic police chase. Witnesses reported the woman trying to escape the vehicle, which also carried their child. The incident stemmed from an argument over jealousy. Both the husband, Sandro, and his wife, Lamai, tested positive for, you guessed it, methamphetamine use, claiming they used it for pain relief. Sandro faces charges for unauthorized drug use, while Lamai is also charged. The couple has been transferred to Pattaya Police Station for further legal action. Yeah. Don't do meth.
Don't do it.
I think is kind of the... especially when your child is around, like, you certainly, not only endangering yourself, your wife, your child, a big speedy police chase. But yeah, this guy needs to be arrested, cleaned up, and face some sort of punishment for endangering not just himself, but all of the people around him and the people on the road too, leading to a police chase. So, yeah, don't do meth.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah, don't do drugs in
If
general.
you've learned anything, this episode is don't do drugs.
I love that excuse. Damien Jester says meth for pain relief. Like, that is not typically the excuse we hear for using it, but sure, I guess it does make your pain go away and your empathy. So don't do it.
Okay. We're going to move on to our next story, which is regarding Thailand. Seeing tourism surge. So some good news coming out of Thailand. Thailand welcomed over 1.3 million international tourists in the first 12 days of 2025, a 19% increase from the same period last year, generating 66 billion baht in revenue. Key visitors came from China, Malaysia, Russia, South Korea, and India, with China accounting for over 200,000 arrivals. Improved safety measures and visa processes fueled 35% increase in short-haul arrivals from China. Projections for Chinese New Year expect 1.35 million tourists and 40 billion baht in revenue for the economy. So we've started the year with a bang. More tourists than ever in Thailand.
Yeah, that's there's been all this talk about, like, Chinese not coming because of, like, the thing and stuff like that. That appears to not entirely be true, as we're seeing a massive 20% jump in numbers just here in the first month of the year. So it seems like 2025 is going to be on the up and up for the Thai economy.
And just you wait for the Chinese New Year, baby. It's going to be booming.
All right, moving on. So, guys, we're done with our Thailand section of the news. We are now heading on to our ASEAN section, where I actually have some ASEAN news, the organization itself. Now, ASEAN is urging the Myanmar junta to prioritize peace over elections. Now, ASEAN urged Myanmar's military junta to prioritize peace and ceasefire over its planned election amid escalating civil war. During a ministerial retreat, Malaysia, as ASEAN's 2025 chair, stressed the need for dialogue and unhindered humanitarian aid for the 20 million in need. The bloc's 5-point peace plan remains stalled, and Myanmar's generals remain barred from ASEAN meetings for non-compliance. Meanwhile, ASEAN addressed South China Sea tensions, with members urging progress on a legally binding code of conduct as disputes with China over territorial claims and economic zones persist. Some actual ASEAN news now. No, of course, the big news is still the conflict that's ongoing in Myanmar. The military junta wants to put in elections. Not a lot of people have a lot of faith in those elections actually being democratic and helpful for the population. So they want to emphasize you can't really have a proper election until the bullets stop flying, right? Like, if people don't feel safe, they're not going to turn out to vote. So I think that's a better way to prioritize things, is to create a ceasefire situation first. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't think the military is very interested in that over there.
All right. For now, we're going to move on to our next story that takes us to Cambodia. A foreigner arrested for murder of Cambodian woman in Phnom Penh. Murder in Phnom Penh. A South Korean man, Lee Tai-sik, was arrested on January the 18th in Tak Mau City after fleeing Phnom Penh, where a Cambodian woman's body was discovered under a hotel bed in Bung Keng Kang district. The victim was found on January the 17th at the Home Cheek Hotel. The suspect has been taken into Phnom Penh police station for questioning and further legal proceedings. Authorities continue their investigation into the murder. Murder in Phnom Penh.
Yeah, murder and intrigue. Wonder what the motivation was.
Yeah.
Wonder what the method was. Stuffing her under a hotel bed. Obviously, that's going to be discovered at some point. So I don't think he was really thinking things through too much. But terrible news for the woman, and also probably bad news for this guy because they caught him. So we'll see what kind of justice is meted out for the perpetrator, or if he did it. These are still allegations, of course. The investigation can continue, but it seems like the evidence is stacked against him, unfortunately. All right, or fortunately, I guess, depending on your perspective. Now, moving on to our next story. Got some fun ones to end us on. A Darth Vader sea bug has been discovered off the Vietnam coast. Cute. Scientists have discovered a new supergiant sea bug species, Bathynomus vaderi, off of Vietnam's coast, named after Darth Vader due to its helmet-like head. Measuring up to 32.5 centimeters or 12.8 inches and weighing over 1 kilogram, horrifying. B. vaderi is one of the largest known isopods. Found in the South China Sea, it scavenges on dead animals and is vulnerable to overfishing due to its slow reproduction. Researchers hope the discovery raises awareness for sustainable practices and paves the way for further deep-sea exploration.
How on earth does that look like Darth Vader at all?
I don't know. But it beats me. But it's a helmet-like appearance. But yeah, whatever it is horrifying, and I think we are better off leaving it on the bottom of the ocean, particularly if it's an endangered sort of species.
Yeah. Anyways, swiftly moving on to our next story, which is regarding a family encounter with elephants. More elephants, this time in Malaysia. A family traveling on Malaysia's east-west highway faced a terrifying encounter with a herd of wild elephants near Pulau Banding on January the 18th. The elephants aggressively surrounded their car, shaking it and causing damage. Despite the panic, including the father experiencing breathing difficulties, the family followed safety precautions and escaped unharmed. A video of the incident went viral. Authorities have advised drivers to stay calm, avoid honking or using high beams, and allow elephants to pass when encountering them on the highway. Police are investigating the incident and urge caution in wildlife areas. Well, they took a liking to this car.
Indeed, they are. That is intimidating, man. I don't know what I would do, but this one is a little more understandable because they were just, I'm just driving on the highway, and all of a sudden the elephants pop out of nowhere. It's like they weren't asking for this one. Yeah, and so I'm glad they're okay. But terrifying thing, especially when these animals are natural habitat around here. Yeah. We've heard of other attacks too on villages and things like that. We have to find a way to be able to live in harmony with these guys because majestic creatures, but also can be very dangerous. Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Those are some of the stories from across Thailand. You can find more stories on thetiger.com. And you can also visit
ASEANnow.com
to join in the conversation on any of these stories from Thailand, from around ASEAN. It's Thailand's largest English news forum. For now, we're going to take a dive into the live chat.